Michigan State's mystery target has been revealed. It is Samford guard Trey Fort. And I'm pretty excited to talk this through with you because this is a compelling prospect in a variety of ways. Uh, just to explain the mystery part of this, for about a week now, there's been a lot of smoke that Michigan State has their next guy, their next target, or their next commit. They think it's imminent. And I believe DK, friend of the program, was making some comments either in the Trilly Discord or somewhere, just alluding to the fact that, hey, I've done a bunch of write ups, research. There's a guy coming. When it's time, I'll say. And he wouldn't give any reveal on who that is. Well, come to find out, Justin Thind reported that Trey Fort is visiting Michigan State right now. And DK confirmed this is who he was aware of. Trey Fort at Samford last year had a career year. 14 and a half points, 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shot 45% from the floor, 38% from three. It was an objectively awesome season. He started all 33 games, played 25 minutes a game in that Bucky Ball system for a pretty good Samford team, one of the better mid-majors in the country, at least one of the more entertaining mid-majors in the country. For what it's worth, Trey Fort led Samford in scoring, so he really did sort of become their dog by the end of the year. And much like Michigan State, Samford didn't play anybody over 28 minutes a game. So if you're wondering why did their leading scorer only play 24 minutes, that's just sort of the Bucky Ball system. I'll throw it to you in a second, just to round out his profile here. This will be his fourth Division I college. This will be his fifth stop in his college career. He began at UT Martin all the way back in 2020, where he did not play. 2 points a game in 7 minutes. Then I believe he went down to the JUCO level. Do I have that
hmm
right?
Yeah, Howard College, I think it was.
Where he was like really good at the
Yeah, I think
JUCO
he's
level.
second team All American JUCO.
Really, really good at the JUCO level. I don't know exactly what the timeline of that went, but there were 2 years in between his time at UT Martin and his return to the Division I level. He returned back up to Mississippi State. He got a high major chance, where once again he was awful. 5 points a game, 38% from the floor, 35% from three, in 11 minutes a game at Mississippi State. On that team, by the way, that lost to Michigan State in the NCAA tournament. And then after his 1 year at Mississippi State, decided to go back down a level to Samford, where he finally had his superstar breakout year. So a whole lot of moving around here. Couple really bad seasons, couple awesome seasons. The film is interesting. There's a lot to like on the film, and there's a lot of reasons to be skeptical on the profile. What's your reaction to Michigan State prioritizing Trey Fort?
So I'll go with the positives first. I do think that Trey Fort is a guy that, at Sanford. Now, obviously, I think that there is a little bit of an inkling in the back of my head that a guy like him went down to Sanford because that was more so his level, where he wasn't able to find success at Mississippi State. It also kind of checks out to me because he did play for Chris Jans at Mississippi State. And defense is something that you really have to play unless you're Josh Hubbard on that basketball team. And I think Trey Fort does lack on that end a little bit, which is why maybe he didn't necessarily get the time that he wanted um, at Mississippi State after he actually started off the season with like a 20 ball against Arizona State. But like his minutes were just never consistent. There was older players on the team, and also I just think his defense was kind of lacking, which kind of checks out with Chris Jans is what he is at Mississippi State as a coach. Goes to Sanford, I think kind of finds his level in his style. Like he plays Bucky ball. It's like a little bit, with all due respect, gimmicky. You just shoot a bunch of threes. You don't really play defense. You kind of press, try to cause chaos because you can't check. And you see what happens. You shoot a bunch of threes, and it's a fun offense to play in. And he had success. Like he almost averaged, I think, little over 6 attempts a game from three. The percentages were good. He's 6'4". He's athletic. I think that he had some big scoring games at that level. Had a big scoring game against Wofford, which is a tournament team, which people make it very well known. But I do think that you have a guy who has some size at 6'4", athleticism, and can knock down some shots. Has knocked down the three, can do some things off, pin downs and things like that. A little shaky with the ball in his hands. Like I know we wanted to get somebody to maybe take some ball handling duties. I don't think Trey Ford is that guy whatsoever. So I guess now I'll move to the things that scare me or what I would constitute as the negatives. The first negative is that he did do this in the Bucky Ball system, and I think it's a little bit gimmicky in how you do it, right? Um,
I have a lot of detail on that if you want me
yeah,
to chime
that's
in
yeah,
later,
yeah,
but
yeah. No, you could. After this, it's all you. Um, and it's a system that here's where I kind of make the connection here. Everyone loves the percentage and the volume. I do too. That's because the offense is very inviting to you getting up volume 3-point shots. Like that's what the system is, right? And a lot of people are doing is this like the Trey replacement? Is this the, Jace replace? Like everyone's doing the replacement game with this, right? I don't think he's a replacement to either. I think if we're bringing Trey Ford in to be a bench piece, I think that'd be the most ideal world, but we need a lot more. And, in an ideal world, my perfect Michigan State bubble where everything works out the way I want it to do is Kurt Tang taking a step and being the guy at the two and having a guy like Trey Fort coming off the bench just being like a spark plug, get you buckets, fill it up type of guy, which I do think we need. But when you're replacing a lot, which Michigan State is, it's hard not to be like the Trey Fort being the guy that we're just, that's who we want, that's what we're going after. It's a little bit somewhat underwhelming for lack of a better term. And I was trying to like come up with a player comp for him. It's funny, as I was watching his film, he's not this guy, but the jumper and the game are exactly the same. You remember Malik Newman?
yes.
Yeah, he's not Malik Newman, so relax. But the jumper and the shot selection and the play and the athleticism are very similar.
I'm
So I
glad I didn't
guess,
have coffee in my mouth when you said that one.
yeah, my apologies. It's okay.
I wasn't ready.
Um, he's not, don't worry. Uh, yeah, I think that's my initial thoughts to get out of here. I think there's some positives. I also think there's a large number of negatives and big picture negatives that I can't really get down with. But it's just here's where I'm coming from too. You saw what having a dynamic player like Jace did for this team last year, and you saw like even what Trey Holman was able to bring to this team last year, and you want to replace that the best you can, and you want to have that somebody have that role on the team. Not saying you got to get one for one. I don't think there is going to be a Jace out there, but you want to get somebody that's like that, and I think that Trey Force just not that guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think that gets my positives and negatives out there for now. I'll probably have some more that come to my head as you talk, but I'll throw it to you next.
Are you happy that this kid is a target? Given all that you need, given the situation, given how little
No.
there's been public talk on who you're prioritizing, are you happy or unhappy? What is your emotion when hearing that your team is prioritizing Trey Fort?
Two things. Not that happy because that's who we're prioritizing with all due respect to Trey Fort. Like, I think you bring that guy in and hope he's a bench piece that can, be like a spark plug off the bench or something like that. And two, I think it's very, very telling on the state of Michigan State basketball money wise. This is a bargain pickup. It has to be. This is, the allegations of Michigan State basketball being cheap. This is very telling of that.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a very similar talk track here to you on like here's reasons why I think it could work, here's reasons why I'm here to give it the benefit of the doubt, and then flip to like my honest evaluation, which is not overly positive here. I'll start though with my comp to rebut your Malik Newman throw out here. I see that with the jumper, by the way. So I aesthetically I get what you're going for. I'll go more like profile wise, archetype wise. What is he? I think he's a taller Diggy Coit.
Oh, good thing I didn't have coffee in my mouth.
I think he's a taller Diggy Coit. Diggy Coit came in with the reputation of like this monster scorer at a miniature level. And it was kind of like, whoa, Kansas is taking him. That's weird. Whoa. And I think the hope originally for Kansas was like he would never play behind Rylan Griffin and AJ Storr. And then as the season went on, he played a lot. And guess what? That wasn't very good for Kansas. And most of his game didn't work. But he was there. And when he did get open shots, they looked pretty good. His jumper was good. Like now, Dinky Coit's 5'11", like 150. I'm not saying they're identical players. But Dinky Coit came in very much as like this volume scorer. Oh, at a mini level that just doesn't translate. And he didn't translate at Kansas, even though he was asked to play a pretty big role. To me, like a Diggy Coit year that he just had at Kansas would be my expected outcome for Trey Fort at Michigan State. Like I maybe start a few games, maybe play more minutes than you want. I don't think he'll be overly productive, even if he makes his threes. But that's sort of where I would put this ballpark in terms of like who the target is and what the ad is and what they're trying to do. Here's the positive spin for me. The kid can clearly shoot the ball, like no questions about that. He's got a really, really beautiful shot. It's one of those where like it's not just like, oh, the numbers went in, the volume is good. No, like the eye test is great. His shot is really gorgeous. Like I got no questions with his ability to put the orange thing in the 10-foot thing. I think Michigan State needs more guys like that. Quite frankly, I think last year you didn't have enough guys like that. I think Jace covered up a roster outside of Jace that really struggled to score the basketball at times, especially at the guard spots, even with Trey Holloman included. And I think this guy, it's just kind of a good idea, I think, for Michigan State to bring in targets whose like whole game is score the basketball. And Trey Fort's whole game is score the basketball. So I can see that. I also think like in general, I'm willing to just give Izzo the benefit of the doubt. And I think this ad falls into that sort of idea logic. And there's an important point that I don't think you noted yet. Izzo has built this entire program around loyalty and around catering to guys that commit to him out of high school and almost like an inherent promise that unless you don't earn it, we won't recruit over you. That's sort of the whole sell. When you go to Michigan State, you can trust that your coach is going to believe in you in a way that most programs don't. And I think that this potential ad is a huge statement on what Michigan State believes they have in Kurteng. A reminder that a year ago, you and I sat here and said Kurteng would be better than Jace. He was ranked higher than Jace. He was like the big ad in last year's recruiting class, and we just didn't see Jace in the or Kerr in the rotation very much. So I think Kerr is like the forgotten piece in all of this. If you interpret who this ad is in the realm of like, hey, this staff must really think Kurteng's a breakout star, then I think this makes a ton of sense. But if you are interpreting more so like, oh, we need a starting shooting guard, then this doesn't make much sense at all. But I'm willing to believe in the staff because clearly that whole MO, that whole approach works. It's how you got a banner this year. Your guys feel that belief. They manifest that in work. They get better and better and better. Why wouldn't Kurteng fall into that category? Maybe this works out that way. That's about where the positives end for me. Do you have anything you want to chime in with before I flip to the negatives?
No, I just want to note that I did say positives. I did say positives. I
You
want
did.
that. I,
You
I just
did.
want that. I want that noted.
So did I. Please also note that.
Yeah,
Also,
and I mean them too. I'm not just saying it, but I'm trying to grow here, folks. And I
yeah,
think there is, and to your point, I am giving Tom the benefit of the doubt because of what he did last year. But damn it, he's making it hard on me.
yeah.
He really is making it hard on me.
It was making it hard on him too.
Yeah, which when he doesn't have to either.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
choosing to, which I love my guy. Like he has the choice between having like a 9-course meal and he's like, nah, give me a plate of cold adversity. I
Yeah.
like that.
But that's where he operates best. So
And yeah.
maybe he knows. Again, genuinely, I'm willing to just blindly be like, Izzo's going to figure it out. After last year, I will not ever make that mistake again. Somehow, some way, it's going to work. And if this is the guy the staff feels they need, it's probably going to work. We interrupt this sleepers video to talk directly to you, our loyal listener. Have you ever found yourself watching us two idiots thinking, hey, I wish there was a very easy, small way for me to show a token of my appreciation for all of their hard work on all these videos I love to watch? Well, now we have just the way to do that.
Thanks to the beautiful folks over at Underdog Fantasy. They are helping us out this month, presenting a lot of the content coming out this month, giving you a chance with a amazing offer that you can use using our promo code that Gregory will tell you more about.
Yeah, so college hoop season's over, but we got like big time golf tournaments. The NBA playoffs are coming. Baseball season's underway. There's still a bunch of sports on. There's still a bunch of ways to play with Underdog Fantasy. Promo code SLEEPERS. As a new customer, you can get up to 1,000 bonus credits plus a free pick. It's one of the most fun ways to play. It's a great way to support us. And on some actual like non-ad read stuff, talking genuinely here, really helps us because if Underdog loves us, if we get a lot of people to sign up, they're going to help us continue to bring you the content that you love. Show your support. Join Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code SLEEPERS. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a free pick. All right, here's the honest evaluation negative side of this, though. Let's just be like completely real about this, okay? Indiana right now, they just got the big kid from Kentucky, Lamar Wilkerson. But before that, who was their most recent target, Cart?
Indiana's?
Indiana's front court target the other day?
Was it a JUCO guy?
A JUCO guy who had some crazy numbers at the JUCO level. And what did you and I come on here and do?
Made fun of them for
We
operating.
clowned it. We laughed at it. We said this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Respectfully to whatever Trey Fort did at the JUCO level, which DK tells me is a lot. Come on. It's the JUCO level. Throw it out. It does not apply. It just doesn't apply. It doesn't. And we have more than enough data of him in college on what we think he is. He was awful at UT Martin. Then he was awful at Mississippi State after being graded at JUCO. And I've been back and forth with a couple of the fans in the Discord on the Mississippi State year. It's like, well, he didn't get chances. Why do you think he didn't get chances? He was bad. He was inefficient. There was nothing on the profile that suggested he should have played more at Mississippi State. We've seen what he looks like at the high major level. It's bad. He went down to a good level for him, a perfect system for him, and he thrived in the Bucky Ball system. This is not a unique occurrence. In fact, I'm ashamed to announce I spent 45 minutes doing a research project last night on this. Have you seen this? Did you see what I sent to the Discord on this?
No, I didn't.
So I'm glad I get to unveil this to you.
Is it in the Champs channel?
It is. So I had a hypothesis.
Sorry.
And I genuinely went into this being like, I wonder what this is if I look it up. And it turns out my hypothesis was 100% correct here. Bucky McMillan coached 5 years at Samford. In those 5 years, he had 7 players transfer out that started at least half their games for Bucky. All of them, except for one, and the one is arguable, I'll get to it, all of them completely flopped at their next destination. Like, not even argument that they were even, like, playable. They all got significantly worse. I'll go through them if you want, just quick notes on them, but, like, why did I even research this? Why do I believe this is a thing? If you're unfamiliar with Bucky Ball, you called it gimmicky. I'll call it the truth. It's a gimmick. It's a whole ass gimmick. Bucky Ball's entire system is to play the fastest tempo in the country, chuck the craziest, quickest shots possible. And if you watch the film of Trey Fort, most of his film is him taking like kind of audacious, crazy, fun shots. That's a fun system. For someone who is a bucket getter of any level, it works. It's great. It puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team. It's chaotic. And Bucky has won a bunch of games at the mid-major level doing it. The other element of it is the defense. Defensively, Samford basically presses the entire game and just tries to force the opponent into as many turnovers as possible, gamble, jump passing lanes, get out of position, And if they don't force a turnover, they want to force the quickest shot possible. They want to play complete chaos ball. And when they play good teams, usually that leads to a bunch of layups for the opposing team. But when they play teams in Samford's league, usually it leads to a lot of bad basketball, and Samford exploits it, and they run down and get crazy quick shots, and it's this just frantic, chaotic mess. That's led to a bunch of wins. Like I said, it's also made a bunch of mediocre players look awesome in the 5 years of Bucky McMillan's tenure. Every single guy that has been like a featured player for Samford in that system and had really great numbers, almost all of them have a career year. And then almost all of them try and go somewhere else and flop on their face. Here's the quick list. Christian Guess was a guard. He started at Missouri where he didn't play, ended up at Samford where he averaged 15 a game, was awesome. Transferred down to Prairie View A&M where he played 12 minutes a game, averaged 2 points a game, and never hooped again. Number 2, Myron Gordon. He actually had an okay year after, but he averaged 15 a game at Samford. Really good, really efficient. Goes to Bowling Green in the MAC where everything dipped. Efficiency got worse. Points per game dropped from 15 to 11. Myron Gordon's the one who was the most playable after he left Samford, but everything dipped. In the MAC, by the way. Third guy, Jalen Dupree, started 33 games for Bucky. 8 points a game, 5 rebounds, 15 minutes a game. Next year, he goes to Tennessee State, where everything dipped. Barely played, 5 points a game. Even at a down transfer or a lateral transfer to Tennessee State, he got worse. The one exception here that I'll be curious to think what you think of this, Wesley Cardette.
Yeah, the Chicago
Actually,
State kid, right?
yeah, he started at Samford. And he averaged 8 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 40% shooting as a freshman. Started 27 games for Bucky. Good year, promising prospect. Left Samford, went down to Chicago State, who was one of the worst teams in the entire country, but Cardette was a star. He scored 17 points a game and 19 points a game in 2 years at Chicago State. Those teams won 24 games in 2 years as an independent school. But Cardette was awesome at a lower level on one of the worst teams in the country. Then at the end of his career, Cardette, you think, okay, he's a star. Where's he going to go? He goes up to the high major level to Providence. What happened? He flopped. He was worse than he was at Samford as a freshman at Providence. So, again, even the guy that you would argue like, oh, it worked after Bucky's system, when he got to the high major level, he wasn't good. And Providence wasn't good. Quickly, 3 that I think people will actually recognize the names of that are the most recent 3. Quez Glover started at Florida, didn't play. Goes to Samford. He was incredible for 2 years. Goes to Ohio State, can't play on a bad Jake Diebler team. AJ Staten McCray, 4 years.
Wait, can I push back 1 second though?
On Glover being good?
Didn't he go somewhere else and was good?
No.
Or am I thinking of someone? Did he go to Florida at all? Am I thinking of someone else?
Glover started at Florida and was horrible.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Glover's career best at Florida was 4 points a game before Samford. And
So
then
he
he
went
went
to
to
Florida
Samford
before.
and was great. And then he
Gotcha.
left. Again, like that guy just, Quez Glover stinks. And Samford made him look incredible because it's Bucky.
Continue.
At Florida and at Ohio State, he stunk and was unplayable because Bucky guys can't go elsewhere and be playable. That's the whole thing. 2 more. AJ State and McCray, 4 years in the Bucky system, productive the entire time, had a career year as a senior, goes to Miami. Miami finished 3-17 in this year's ACC, and State and McCray was a huge piece of it and averaged 7 points a game. All his percentages tanked out of the Bucky system. And finally, the loudest and biggest flop, maybe in Portal history at this point, Achor was Bucky's superstar the year they won the tournament game or made the tournament and lost to Kansas. He played 2 years at Samford, averaged 16 and 6, hella efficient. He got paid millions of dollars to go to Kansas State. And at Kansas State, he averaged 7 and 2 in 7 games, only played 13 minutes a game, and then left the team for personal reasons. That's every player that has ever left the Bucky Ball system. They all have completely failed at the high major level. There isn't one that has even gone and been redeemable. So that's, to me, I can't possibly lay this out any more clear. I think the entire system's a gimmick. And I'm not attacking Trey Fort. I'm attacking anyone that's ever played in the Bucky Ball system that has then tried to go to a high major. And what I fully expect from Trey Fort, if he ends up at Michigan State, is exactly what he already showed he is at Mississippi State, a dude that can't play. So I know there are people that love the idea of this. DK is like really high on this, and maybe at some point we can get the friend of the program back on the show to try and convince us of it. But to me, that's just damning evidence, Cart. Like I would not want to touch anyone from that system. There's clear guys that are just better players than Trey Fort in that system that have gone to bad teams, let alone a championship team like Michigan State. Like these are freaking Florida, Ohio State, Kansas State, Miami. None of those teams except Florida were good, and that was like Mike White, Florida.
Hmm.
So if you can't even play on those type of teams, I don't really imagine it's going to meet the Michigan State standard. The rebuttal to this, I'll tee you up if you want it, is that all of those coaches stunk.
That was going to be my first rebuttal point, which I think, first of all, elite point. Too. Also, where did Bucky just get hired to?
Texas A&M.
Texas, and that's I wonder if the gimmick will travel.
Good luck,
Uh,
Buck.
but yeah, no, I do think that one, those are bad. That would be my first rebuttal, the bad coaches thing, and two, how many of those guys were like in the Trey Fort mold, I guess, game wise?
I think Glover, Staten, McCray.
But Glover was small though, right?
I don't know what Glover's size was, but he was like a shot
I,
hunting guard.
I thought he was like a 5'9", like jitterbug type guy. Let me check this real quick.
I mean, of the four I mentioned, guys that I would put in this
Glover's
category,
6 foot.
I think like five of these seven are guards. Like
Mm,
Cardette's a big guard. State McRae was an on-ball guard. Obviously Glover was smaller. Christian Guest and Myron Gordon were like shot hunting guards.
mm.
So I don't know. Like, is their game identical to Trey Fort? No, but is their profile at Samford very similar? Yeah, that's my issue here. Like anybody who plays 25 minutes in the Bucky Ball system gets this crazy boost production wise that just doesn't exist anywhere else.
Right. This is what it brings back to, because I think there's some really good points made by you. This should be the ad around a big ad. This should be a depth piece ad. Like that should be the cusp of it. Um, if we are bringing in Trey Fort and be like that's our starting two, I'm completely unmoved.
Yeah, that's
And
why.
that goes back to my first point and the point that you made as well. If this is like you're putting on one, it's like first of all, this is a gamble too, by the way. If you're putting all your eggs in the Curtain basket, okay, understandable. Hope he makes a jump. I've always been a Curtain guy, so yes, I will go glass half full here. I do think that he can be good. I think he can be the starting two for this team.
I do
But
too, for the
but
record.
it's a gamble. It's a gamble, a massive gamble. Um, and look, I'm fine with it. I understand it, but this brings me to what this is, and Trey Ford might not even. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to commit to Michigan State. Like he's probably not to like shit on the kid or anything like that, but he's probably like in awe that Michigan State wants to have him and bring him in and be a part of like a Big Ten championship team. Um,
Yeah, my thing is like respectfully, I don't even think he has a list. Like,
I,
who's he
I have
hearing
I
from?
I have not seen one.
I can't imagine he's going to go anywhere else other than Michigan State, which again, like that's their priority. So good win, but it's not like we think there's other options that are crazy good here.
Right? It's not like we're beating out somebody.
Yeah. Here's the one other thing I want to add, and again, maybe DK can come on and explain his side of this better because I really do value his opinion. And DK, for what it's worth, DK loves this guy. So that's gonna sit in the back of my mind, like as a friend that I really do respect his basketball opinions on. If DK says it's worth paying attention to, I'm in. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But in he did some write ups that I think you can see somewhere. I think he might have sent them to the Trilly Discord, or maybe they made their way to our Discord. But either way, one of his main takeaways was basically like, you know, As a Trey Holloman replacement, I love it. It's an upgrade. As a Jace Richardson replacement, like it's not that. And it sounds like we're not even going to get a Jace Richardson replacement. That's not what the staff wants. But as a Trey Holloman replacement, this is an upgrade. And then, comma, for the price point, you're not going to find better. I just have so many problems with those two sentences. Like, number one, why don't you want a Jace Richardson replacement? Number two, I don't know that he is better than Trey Holloman. I wouldn't feel confident in that. And number three, why are we operating with a budget? What are you saying? I just don't understand.
Or
I
if you are operating with the budget, why is the budget so small?
I just flat out do not understand why it's like the second transfer target when you need to add five of them. And we're talking like, well, for the price. So is Michigan State operating with millions of dollars less than every other school in the Big Ten right now?
I think we're choosing to.
It just, and accepting that as like reasoning just doesn't map for me. Because again, it's on record publicly at this point. There's access to money if needed. I would argue you need it. like how much do you think is even being offered here? Can you give me a hypothetical ballpark?
I feel like we could get him for like 300,000.
I mean, that's sort of my assumption too, which is just
Maybe 100,000.
I don't know. I would think more than that, but isn't the rumor that you're giving Cohen Carr over $1 million?
I believe so, yeah.
Why can't you get a portal for that price point? I don't follow it at all.
I have no answer for you. My biggest gripe, even outside of all of this, is that we operate like we're Notre Dame. And that might even be disrespectful. Like we operate like we're not Michigan State money wise, and I don't get it. I truly don't. We don't have to bargain shop. Like and there seems to be like this pride and like this look back and oh, look at these guys who got paid millions last year that flopped. Well, one, they weren't at Michigan State, and two, like those guys were also like, I would have been fine paying Coleman Hawkins to come play at Michigan State last year. We're in
Yeah.
the Final Four if we have Coleman Hawkins. So it's like this whole like pride and bargain shopping is the most mind-blowing thing to me that all Michigan State fans love to hold as like a badge of pride. Like,
Yeah.
well, oh, no, we didn't. We didn't spend money. We didn't. We bargain shopped. We would never do that. Look at all these players that got paid millions last year that flop, flop, flop across the country. If you add those players to this team, they're a Final Four team. I saw last year people talking about, I mean, look what Jonas Adu did when they paid him. We have Jonas Adu, we're in a Final Four. Like it's crazy. Also, whole nother video we could be talking about. Why aren't we recruiting a center once again for the seventh year in a row?
Yeah, so here's the last point from me is like, okay, if Michigan State has decided that with portal guys, they're only gonna go for value, right? They are just straight up not gonna offer big money transfer players. Because that's my understanding is that's what you're doing. If Caleb Glenn and Trey Fort are the first two priorities here, my understanding is there's a price point limit. And maybe DK's right. For the price point limit that you're setting on yourself, these aren't bad ads. Just don't get why we're setting that limit. But if you're going to set that limit, if that's the approach, I don't think the way Michigan State is recruiting high school prospects is acceptable. You're bringing in a two-man class. You can't bring in two high schoolers, neither of which is like an immediate guaranteed star. Maybe they surprise you the same way Jace did, and we'll eat our words. But like, as you said, where are the center targets? What are you doing in the class of 2026? The highest rated player that you've offered right now, you've got one 5-star offer out, Anthony Thompson. Outside of that, it's Jonathan Sanderson. I see 6 offers listed. You can't not pay for portal players and also have small amounts of targets on the high school trail. Dog, Jace's brother says Michigan State's not even recruiting him. How is that acceptable while you're also setting a self-enforced limit on the amount of money that you'll spend? And again, maybe we will just eat our words. Maybe Izzo will win the league with Nick Sanders at shooting guard. I have no idea. I won't put it past him at this point. But I can't really accept the logic here on how they want to operate this offseason.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a phrase I just now coined. We're not in the portal, we're in the portal.
Wow.
Yeah, hashtag the portal.
Wow. I love that.
I hate it.
But I just don't get it. All right.
Yeah,
So surely the outcome.
this would be crazy though to look back on, and we're like, Izzo wins the league by 2 games, and Trey Fort's like this guy, and that look that could happen because Tom Izzo's that great of a basketball coach, but we don't have to operate this way. It also could go bad, like it could go very bad.
Yeah. The outcome here is surely Michigan State wins the league. Actually splits with Purdue because we woke Painter up. I don't think like Izzo
What?
voodoo tricks are necessarily as valuable when Paint is spending money.
Not to cut you off here, but what was the phrase used by a lot of people? Like, yeah, Michigan State won the league this year, which I'm taking 14 times out of 10. But at what cost?
Trey Fort, is he going to start at shooting guard? You get him.
No,
What happens?
no.
He comes off the bench, plays how many minutes? What's his production?
I would say he plays 20, 22 minutes, and he gives you, I'd say 8 a game, maybe 9.
Okay. I will bet he does not start at shooting guard. Maybe starts the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year does not. I think Kurtang will just be better than him by a lot. And maybe like 15 minutes a game, 5 points a game.
Yeah, that sounds
And
about.
and
Have some
Michigan State cakewalks to a Big Ten title.
have some moments.